I'm sorry, but last week I lied to you. We won't be doing Spartacus, that will be next week. So put that high alcohol content, sweet white wine aside for our Gladiator movie special. Instead, this week we'll be doing a guest spot on To Catch a Thief, the 1955 unrepresentative Alfred Hitchcock caper starring Grace Kelly and Cary Grant. There is a character who is outed as an unsophisticated redneck for drinking bourbon, which happens to be my favorite spirit. So we've got some Woodford Reserve this week. So pour yourself an expensive glass and prove to the world that some rednecks have money. It's time for episode 21 of Toasting the Classics, To Catch a Thief.
I mean, I don't want to take drastic measures here just to avoid having a video out there of me with no pants on. I don't want to always have my pants on just to avoid that. Anyway, welcome to Toasting the Classics. We're doing things a little weird again this week. We got Jay Schweig visiting again. Say hi,
Hello.
Jay.
Hello.
You're coming from Oklahoma again?
I'm in the DC area right now.
Oh, cool. Nice. So what are we doing this week? We've actually done, this is our second episode with you as a guest. So we're actually in a rotation, like sort of a, what do you call it when there's another thing in parentheses within the main thing in parentheses? Isn't there like a word for that in math? Like there's some, or is it just computer science thing? Is that recursive or something like that?
Recursion or
yeah, this is like a recursion. Like that. we have our own series here. So
I know surprisingly little vocabulary about math. Like the math category on Jeopardy is like always my worst category because they're like,
do you know what? I get questions wrong about the law. They ask questions and it's like in a way that I'm just like, oh my God, in 4 seconds, I can't decipher what they're talking about here. Yes, I know when they say it, I always know the answer, but I have like a moment of being like, oh, I'm not coming up with the right layperson term for this thing. So I've definitely had that experience before. Anyway, so you chose a book last time, and this time,
yes,
it goes to me to choose a movie, and I wanted to do something Hitchcock, and I picked something that I haven't seen before, which is To Catch a Thief. Do you know what year it's from?
I do not.
I was going to leave it up to you. It's 1955. I'm leading. It's a leading question.
Okay.
I did know what the answer was going to be.
Okay.
That's one thing that I do know as a lawyer is not to ask a question that you don't know the answer to. So yeah, it's 1955, and it stars. Do you know who's in it? Did you watch the movie?
I'm guessing a thief is in it.
Yes,
and
that's right.
A thief catcher as well. It's so actually I read about this that Cary Grant previously had retired from acting because he was actually mad at the way House Un-American Activities Committee had treated Charlie Chaplin.
Was it Charlie?
So
was that what it was?
Acting. He was just, I think so.
I saw something about Charlie Chaplin, but I didn't know it was House Un-American Activities went after Charlie Chaplin. That's weird. I thought wasn't Charlie Chaplin like almost on the other side from the communists? Wasn't he like, or am I just thinking of when he was the great dictator? So I'm actually thinking he was a Nazi.
Yeah,
because of that. So
and the mustache too, and
the Hitler mustache that he walked around with. Yeah. That's unfortunate. It's unfortunate for that facial hairstyle, but it really could have just been the Charlie Chaplin forever pretty easily.
It's definitely a bad facial hairstyle to choose. Yeah.
Well, you remember when Michael Jordan tried to revive it?
I remember that. That was very weird.
There was like a Hanes commercial, and he had like a little tiny. And it's like, probably Michael Jordan's safe from being accused of being a Nazi. I think we can all agree, but it's just kind of weird. But,
in a weird way, it might be kind of a power move, right? He shows up for the commercial, the Hanes commercial,
right?
And he's like
nobody's gonna say anything.
Name.
He's like, say something about my Hitler mustache. Go for it.
Like I can't wait to fire some PA when he mentions he's like,
exactly.
Mr. Jordan, are you sure you want to go into the commercial like this?
What's your relationship with Hitchcock in general? Like, have you seen a whole bunch of his movies, or?
I've seen a lot of Hitchcock movies, and he's made North by Northwest and Dial M for Murder.
Okay, I've never seen that.
Oh, really? That's so. So the reason I selected these, I think these are two of the most perfect movies ever made. Like
North by Northwest and Dial M for Murder.
Yeah, I think they're both just absolutely perfect. And actually, the insurance agent from To Catch a Thief is a police inspector in Dial M for Murder. And
Okay.
he's fantastic in that too.
What's his name? Houston? You know why I wanted to watch a Hitchcock movie is because my son, we do this thing where we learn about like film history sometimes. And he was like really interested in Hitchcock because there's a Who Was Alfred Hitchcock book that he read. And so
wow.
he actually went on the Podbean page for the podcast and suggested Hitchcock. So I was like, all right, I got to do that. So
yeah,
I tried to find something I hadn't seen. I don't remember Vertigo very well, but I have seen it. I saw North by Northwest. I've seen Psycho. I always liked Rear Window. That was one of my favorites.
Oh
when I was
yeah,
a kid.
let me add that to my
your
my
top
two.
one.
So those three are just, yeah, I forgot about Rear Window.
But yeah, Rear Window.
I think
those are good. I really like that.
Those are three just absolutely incredible.
So I was thinking about this one, and not to sort of skip. I guess this would be sort of skipping all the way through the movie, but like we said before, we're sort of assuming people either have watched this or just want to kind of hear about it and not worried about spoilers. But like after watching the whole movie, I was thinking, the rooftop scene at the end, right?
Yes.
It's a little bit of, and there's a couple of scenes. So there's the rooftop scene, there's some chasing going on, and there's the bit where she's driving really fast around the curves. And that's about the only parts of the movies where there's a little bit of suspense.
So actually, a pretty morbid fact is that
you're ruining my best surprise. You're ruining my biggest surprise. But so that was my biggest surprise. I was watching that. They have Grace Kelly driving really fast around the curves. Although it had nothing to do with her driving. Did you know how she died?
No. I
thought she just went left eye and just was driving crazy and went off the cliff. She had a stroke while she was driving, and her daughter was in the car with her and tried to get control of the car back, but they went over a 120-foot cliff. The daughter actually survived. I've driven in that part of the world, and it's pretty intimidating, those cliffs and those roads.
That's funny. I was reading. I'm currently reading a Sebald book, the German writer, and he actually died. He had a heart attack while he was driving.
Huh.
So it was like one of these driving things, but another medical thing happening at the same time. Right. I didn't know that though. I thought it was.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. I was reading about it, and I was surprised. So that's my biggest. My biggest surprise was watching this movie and being like, "Oh my God, they have her driving on the road where she died."
Yeah.
Or I don't know if it's the road. You're saying it's the road.
It is the road. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's crazy. So they would have filmed in the French Riviera, and she lived in Monaco.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my biggest surprise. You made me spoil it early, but usually we do it towards
sorry
the end,
about that. I was actually going to say that road was the same road where they had like a pretty nice drive through Roy Rogers. So I wasn't even talking about the fact that.
Yeah. So what about Cary Grant? Do you have other Cary Grants that you've seen? I was actually kind of having trouble remembering non-Hitchcock. Well, no.
Isn't he North by Northwest?
Yeah, I was thinking non-Hitchcock stuff though with Cary Grant. Because I watched Bringing Up Baby when I was a kid. Have you ever seen that one?
No, I haven't.
It's
Is that with Steve Guttenberg and Tom Selleck where they have the baby? Is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Cary Grant is 95 years old, still single. Which speaking of Cary Grant's age, is it not super gross, the difference in age between him and Grace Kelly?
It's a little much.
Like it's weird. Like she's the age where she's plausibly still living with her mother.
Well, but she's in her
mid-20s, but I mean,
so Danielle does call her an older woman when they're in the water, right? So presumably I would say she's expected to be maybe early to mid 30s. The reason she's traveling around with her mom is just because like they're rich and kind of bored.
What I was saying about Danielle is that they definitely mentioned she's a teenager. Like they say she's a teen. I was like, whoa, she's supposed to, because she doesn't look like a teenager at all. She looks like 20 something also. So was this your first time watching the movie?
So I think so. I think maybe it's possible I'd seen it like a long time ago or seen pieces of it or something like that.
Well, you know what? This one's.
But I remembered almost none of it.
Yeah, exactly. I don't remember about the other Hitchcock movies I've seen. I think this one's old enough. Maybe we should do a little synopsis of what happens in the movie just to keep people up to date. So, do you want to try it, or you want me to? Yeah,
let me give it a shot. So, Cary Grant is like a retired or allegedly retired jewel thief living on the French Riviera.
Do you think we're supposed to be up in the air about whether he's retired, or are we just? Is he just a reliable narrator that we're?
I think a little bit, but anyway. So someone starts committing robberies in the manner that he did,
like with his MO, like his exact
with
MO.
his MO, yeah.
Right.
And so then the people he all knows in like this restaurant and stuff get really mad at him because he fought with them in the resistance. They used to be part of his gang, and they were given parole because of helping in the French resistance.
Right. And the Germans bombed their jail cell, and that's how they got out to join the resistance.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah,
so
they mentioned that. I thought that was a pretty good backstory. I was like,
yeah, that's a good backstory. So Cary Grant decides that. So I guess he flees kind of partially with the help of Danielle, who's this teenage girl, right. The daughter of one of the members of the gang. I can't remember his name.
Bertani.
Okay.
I think the guy that owns the restaurant.
He flees, and the police try to arrest him. He manages to evade them, but then the police.
For a little bit.
It's kind of an interesting device how he evades them for a little bit, and then they catch up to him. Right.
So it's sort of like doesn't do anything for the plot, but you do get to see him sneaking around and being the guy that he is. So it sort of introduces the character.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that it's like, well, we're 45 minutes in, just all of the conflict that was set up for that 45 minutes was just resolved off screen. He just shows up and he's like, oh, it turns out the French have this thing where they let you go, then like, oh, well, I guess I could have skipped to minute 48 and started this movie.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of characterization. So,
well, I think one thing about them, well, I'll get to this later, but he decides that in order to clear his name and to kind of get his former gang to stop being mad at him, he needs to catch whoever the thief is. Hence the title, I guess.
Literally the title caught me by surprise. I was 10 minutes in and I was like, oh, to catch a thief, you need a thief, which I don't know what's that from. Do you know where that line comes from? I was thinking it has like a ring, like something that couldn't possibly be in the Bible. That would be a really weird sentence to be in the Bible, but it has that kind of cadence to it, like something really old, but I don't know what it's from. So
they probably took it from Chris Hansen's To Catch a Predator, would be my thing. I mean,
I always wanted to do
my guess.
I always wanted to do a bit with that show where the Predator shows up and like walks in like the armor and stuff.
I'm sure someone must have done that at some point with Chris Hansen.
You would think that's a Key and Peele sketch, right? They would have done that.
It's a quick sketch. Like there's got to be some kind of comic of that or something. But anyway, so he sets out to try to catch whoever's doing these robberies, and so he gets his insurance agent friend. He gets his insurance agent friend to give him lists of all the wealthy people in Monaco who have like the most, assets that could possibly be stolen. And so in that way, he ends up meeting Grace. What's Grace Kelly's character's name? I can't remember.
I keep just thinking of her as Grace Kelly.
Yeah, I know, me too.
Throughout the movie. But Frances, okay, that's why I don't remember it. That's not Frankie. He calls her Frankie, doesn't he?
I think so. Something. Yeah.
Yeah. So the origin of to take a thief, catch a thief is actually just like an old proverb. Basically, it's all over the place. It sort of goes back to a classical Greek epigram.
Okay.
But it's sort of like one of those things that's just out there.
What's
it isn't
the
really
full?
Any specific.
Is there a full maxim?
Callimachus. Now this is obviously translation from the Greek. It says, "Being a thief myself, I recognize the tracks of a thief." Is the first sort of saying like that, but it's also in comments upon Cervantes and in Thomas Fuller's Church History of Britain. So there's a whole bunch of references to it. It's not anything specific.
But yeah, so anyway, I'm being really long-winded with this, so hopefully you'll cut on my entire synopsis and just refer people to the Wikipedia page.
Yeah, I'm actually what it's gonna sound like in the final version is I'm gonna say, would you like to do the synopsis? And it's just gonna be you saying no. That'll be the evidence, and then we'll move on.
So anyway, I'll try to wrap it up quickly. So he gets sort of caught up with Grace Kelly's character, Frances or Frankie, and her mom, who are wealthy Americans that are there in Monaco. Right. And he kind of strikes up a romantic relationship with Frances, who
they've got a good Sam and Diane, like Han Solo, Princess Leia thing going on for the middle part of the movie. That's I think it's one of the most fun parts of the movie.
And it's very kind of, one thing, I watched the movie with some family and stuff, and one thing that they commented on that I thought was really a good point is that we remember these old Hollywood stars as like being very photogenic and being having like a magnetism, which they do.
Sure.
But like their timing, like Grace Kelly's
I was thinking the same thing,
is so good. She's
the
so
rhythm.
good at,
I think they used to. I think it's not just that people today. It's not that people today couldn't do it. I think that was the way they were directed, was to have this rhythm and timing with the way they spoke. And I think they really rehearsed their lines.
Yeah.
And they'd hit it like the way you do in a play. Like there's the part where they're going to the manor and they're like casing the manor and they're walking around that front talking. I was listening to the cadence of the way they talk to each other. And I was like, people don't do it. The only person, who does that is Tarantino. Quentin Tarantino actually, I think, directs his people so much that you can hear that kind of banter and that kind of, that there's almost like a meter to the way they talk.
And also David Mamet's movies.
Okay.
And David Mamet's plays are like that.
Oh, right. I saw Glengarry Glen Ross is the
Glen Ross. The Spanish Prisoner is a lot like that too. The Spanish Prisoner is a fantastic movie.
Anything with a good script. I really liked the script for LA Confidential. I thought had a really good like just the way everybody talks is like obviously they're hitting their marks like exactly where they're supposed to and stuff. I just love the way the sound of it is really good.
Okay. Should we continue with the synopsis? This is taking way too long. So
let's continue. So essentially because her mother has diamonds, which by the way, in the old days had 3 syllables. And I think that's hilarious. Diamonds. I think we should bring that back. I think we should start referring to them as diamonds again.
But then Grace Kelly or Frankie's character realizes that Cary Grant is not his, because he was telling them he was an American from Oregon and lying about his purpose in the French Riviera. He said he was there. He's like a builder and he's there for like real estate or something like that. But she realizes that he's this famous jewel thief.
I've got a nitpick about that part. He says he's a lumberman, right?
Yeah.
And then she's like, "Can you name 3 deciduous trees in the state of Oregon?" And I'm like, you don't get lumber from deciduous trees in the Pacific Northwest. It's usually conifers, isn't it? Spruce and cedar and things like that. Anyway.
Yeah. So he would have to know which trees not to get lumber from. He'd be like, not that one.
That's true. Not that one, right. Well, I think he wouldn't turn up his nose at the lumber of deciduous trees, but I feel like it would be more likely to be.
Maybe Frankie's or Francis is really smart, and that was a trick question.
Oh yeah,
he would be
true.
Like,
she is supposed to be smart. Did you? So you've seen it before, so you weren't really.
I remember nothing. I remember nothing of it
like
though. I was
twist.
very surprised.
I was trying to figure out who my suspect was the whole time.
Yeah.
Right.
I shouldn't say I was surprised. Nothing was really that familiar to me.
But I was like suspecting. So I never really thought of that Cary Grant's character was going to end up being the burglar. For some reason, I just took the character at his word. But I thought she was going to turn out to be the burglar. I thought that's where we were going.
There was a chance of that. Yeah, I thought so too.
Because there was kind of like the way they were talking to each other. And then there's one point where he grabs her arm and she's like, "Oh, you have the grip you need to be a burglar." And then later in the movie, like she grabs his arm and he kind of like looks at her. And I was like, oh, it's like a clue that she has the grip to be a burglar too. But that wasn't, I don't know if that was a purposeful red herring or whether.
One thing that I thought was well done in the movie, I mean, I thought a lot was well done, but one thing that I thought was good is, she initially meets Cary Grant and she really like comes on to him, right? She kisses him like when they're going. And I remember watching that and being like, that's a little, like she would just be like, "Hey, I think this guy's attractive. I'm gonna kiss him." Right? That seemed a little weird. But then when you realize that she already knew that he was John Roby, you realize that.
Where did she did know?
Yeah, because she said all those things, when she was going through, how she knew that he wasn't really who he said he was. It was clear that first night.
She knew he wasn't the lumberman, but did she know he was John Roby though?
I think so. I think so.
Okay, yeah. I wasn't sure about that.
And so that explains that, because I remember watching that part and being like, this is kind of unrealistic. Like she just meets some random guy.
Yeah.
And, she's instantly in love with him, but it's really, she's trying to get some excitement in her extremely, boring life as a rich heiress.
That's another thing that I thought made the movie fit into the Hitchcock I don't want to use the word oeuvre, but it's the word that's on the tip of my tongue.
Do it. Use the word oeuvre.
Into the Hitchcock oeuvre. It fits in because it's like, she's a woman who's like looking for like kind of a kinky thrill by like getting involved with like a burglar. And I was like, that's kind of his thing. Every movie has like somebody with some kind of, I guess, essentially like a mental illness. I mean, there's Psycho, there's Vertigo. I don't know about North by Northwest, but usually that's sort of a theme in his movies, is somebody's got some kind of a like an issue like that.
Yeah.
That he's kind of building around. I was thinking that was one part where it was like, okay, there I can see his work there. But otherwise, this one's kind of just like a pretty light. It's a pretty light kind of comedic. I don't know if comedic's the right word, but
can we talk about what surprised me, or is that done at the end?
No, go for it. Well, we've already put the cart in front of the horse and shot it in the head already, so we might as well.
I think the thing that most surprised me was how unlike typical Hitchcock it is.
Right.
Like how easygoing and how kind of, I mean, Hitchcock always has kind of a sense of humor, even though sometimes it's very, very dark. But this was more like, in a way, it was almost like a popcorn movie, right? It had like, these romantic leads. It had some action, but like you said, there wasn't a ton of suspense. The part that really, and we still haven't finished the synopsis, so make sure to just edit me in saying no when you ask if I want to do the synopsis.
Well, anyway, so I mean, how would we finish it up? Let's see. So basically, they set up like a trap for the thief, so that they can reveal the thief. I wasn't sure why the mother and the tax guy and the insurance guy needed to be involved in that plan. It seemed like for some reason they were critical to the plan, but I didn't understand the plan. Why did they need to be there?
I don't know, nothing else to do that week.
But it seemed like a heist, like they're putting together this complicated heist.
Keep in mind beforehand, right? They think they've found and killed the jewel thief,
right?
Who's Danielle's dad, and so then they have the funeral for Danielle's dad, and Danielle's like furious at Cary Grant, and Cary Grant like slaps her and kind of deserts his former gang.
Boy, that
the
would
former
like
gang are the people.
They used to do stuff like that in movies back in the day. You'd have like a man slap a woman in a movie, and that would be, that would just be like a deal breaker. That would not be the lead of the movie anymore if you did that. That would be like the bad guy. And they used to do stuff like that even up until like the 70s. You see movies where people do stuff like that, and it's like, I don't know if that was just a movie.
I thought the slap was kind of unwarranted too, because she's yelling that, her father's death was due to John Roby, which is like not entirely untrue, right? His father got kind of caught up in.
Also, like, you kind of let people get away with stuff at their parents' funeral. Maybe don't go around smacking people.
Exactly.
I mean, if somebody acts like a knucklehead at their father's funeral, like, give them a pass. Smack them next week. Why
did you slap that woman? Well, it was her dad's funeral, and she took the last coconut shrimp, and like I didn't get any. And it's like, well, maybe give them a little bit of benefit of the doubt. It's a pretty bad day for them, right? But yes, so at the end, they set up a trap. They set up a trap that's part of this huge costume ball, and there's nothing.
So I was thinking about this. Do you think there's anybody like from the last 20 years that has that kind of, and not just somebody who has a different kind of star power, but is there somebody that has that kind of like just glamour and like? I was looking at her. I was trying to think, could anybody look the way she does or like act the way she does or anything? Is there anybody like that today?
And it really is not just the directing. I'll definitely give you that the directing is great. She just has this magnetism, and Cary Grant similarly has like a magnetism. Like he
totally does.
They really hold the scene, which is something that I think when people talk about like the golden age of Hollywood, that's really what they're talking about. They're talking about people like Vivian Leigh in Gone with the Wind. I mean, you could shoot the movie. You could shoot a scene and have her like in the lower left-hand corner, and there's just something about the way she like carries herself, the way she delivers her lines that just draws you to her.
Or you mean you could like make a movie that, I don't know, glorified the antebellum South and put Vivian Leigh in it, and people would still watch it today because she's that good? Like, it's completely inappropriate movie for today's mores and like customs, but people still watch it because she was that good.
She was that good. I mean,
I don't know if it's just the sort of when things are old, they seem better, like to some extent they've got a lot more, they just carry a lot more weight, like things from the golden days of Hollywood. Like, but there's a couple of actors like I watched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, it's okay. It's a pretty good movie overall, but I was just watching Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio for like 2 hours. And I was just like, and more Brad Pitt, really, more him. I was just kind of watching it. I was just like, I could just watch him all day. Like, he's just got that kind of charisma.
It's kind of like a self-assuredness too, right? That's kind of like,
I think that's a big part of it.
Cary Grant is really has that, right? Where he kind of like, he just kind of owns a scene. He owns, his part of a dialogue or something.
Actually, young Harrison Ford. I used to just watch everything Harrison Ford was in. You could just watch him. He was just cool. Just a cool guy. Cary Grant is, he's what, in his 50s in this movie. Yeah. And they cast him as like, that's what you were talking about where she's kind of going after him. And I think that's it's a pet peeve I have in movies and things, is when you have a guy who's, he's like a charismatic, he's a good movie star and stuff like that, but he's a little past his prime in terms of being like attractive to women.
Yeah.
And they have to hit you over the head with like, oh, this guy's really attractive to women. They have to tell you, because it's not really, and I think that's kind of how I was reading it, is I was like, there's no way 26-year-old Grace Kelly would be chasing around a 51-year-old Cary Grant.
I mean, he was his dialogue with her, he was very like charismatic with her when he took her to that early bird breakfast and the mall walk, right? So
I didn't realize you were going into a joke there. That's great. I was like literally trying to remember. It's like the early bird breakfast. What? I was like, what are you talking? Yeah,
then they watched Matlock. They watched Matlock for 3 hours, and it was
exactly. It was a little awkward when one of the tennis balls fell off of his walker.
It was weird. I don't think it was as much of a trope back then, so I don't know if Hitchcock was intentionally subverting it. I like how Grace Kelly is really into him, but then later on you find out that's because she thinks he's this jewel thief, and that's why she's so.
Yeah, that makes way more sense. Not just, I like that a lot better.
Yeah, because it's not like she's like, oh, I'm really into this guy who is just a lumber guy from Oregon.
Right. It's a lot more believable. It's a lot more believable that a mid-20s young woman would be interested in like a guy who has some kind of interesting thing about him. That makes sense.
And she's obviously just crucially bored in her life. She's so bored, and she's looking for this,
which is totally why I thought she was going to be the jewel thief. Yeah. I thought that's where they were going with it, because she was just like bored and like, but then I started thinking about it. I was like, why would she know his MO? Yeah. She's not from there, it would have to be somebody French. So then my other suspect was Pull-Up Guy. Remember Pull-Up Guy?
Yeah, Pull-Up Guy.
He was actually part of the gang, I think, in some way.
He was part of the gang, but I don't know, was the entire gang doing the robbery? I thought it was just Danielle and her father.
I think it's just Danielle, yeah, or I guess her father too. Yeah. But he had a wooden leg, so he couldn't actually be a cat burglar. What we haven't talked about is, what are we drinking and why?
Well, we're drinking, actually, this is a good kind of theme, in that the mother, Grace Kelly's mother, in the movie is constantly asking for bourbon. I think one reason is because a bourbon is sort of just like a very quintessentially American drink, right? It
is, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, it's actually kind of like champagne. I think it actually has to be from
exactly. It has to be bourbon, from, which is kind of funny because like there are all these things like Burgundy, champagne,
and bourbon is a French name. So definitely. So we chose Woodford Reserve, because I just finished a bottle of that not too long ago and did not mind going out and buying a new one. So, and you said you had some, which is the Kentucky bourbon. That's about all I know to intelligently say about it, but it's a good one and I like it. So,
well, but actually I think the comparison is interesting, because there are all these French drinks that are very name specific. And I think bourbon is, I can't think of another name of a drink that's name specific for someplace in America.
I mean, obviously there are Napa wines, but they're just things you can get otherwise, or the grapes you can get in other places.
In other words, Napa is not the name of a wine.
Do you know what is like it? Do you know what is like it? It's not American, but it is from this region. From my region is tequila. Tequila has to be from a certain region in order to be called tequila. Yeah. And mezcal also.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I could think of that's like that. We just don't have a really deep, sophisticated food culture in this country. Like, I think people have only in the last 50 years started caring about making like quality things like that. Like, we're just, we're sort of new, we're just not that sophisticated yet. So we do have bourbon. I mean, that is a thing. So
yeah,
that is like a piece of world cuisine, basically.
But even like Tennessee whiskey or something, that's kind of a thing that's added on to whiskey, and whiskey obviously doesn't have to be from any
whiskey.
Place in
America. There's a rule about the spelling, the KY versus KEY, and I'm forgetting it now. All of a sudden, so only a certain kind can be called whiskey with a KY, and then there's Canadian. There's rules in Canada about, I don't know, I'm getting all mixed up about rye whiskey and Canadian whiskey. There's a whole thing there too. Okay. So there are some things in the Americas, but not much.
Not as obvious as bourbon.
Right.
There's nothing like,
Canadian
that's bourbon or something.
That's a really clear one. And people really do drink it quite a bit. Like, it's definitely like I think it might be my favorite spirit. The only thing that would come close is Scotch. So in terms of just like putting it in a glass and drinking it, I just don't do that with like vodka or tequila or anything like that. So I
actually noticed a couple of stylistic things about the movie.
All right, shoot. What do you got?
And I noticed that as the movie, if you think about kind of being a cat burglar, or kind of the appeal, kind of what Cary Grant's character and later the copycat did, kind of one of the appeals of it is it like all happens in shadow. It all happens in the dark. And as the movie went on, it got more shadowed, more dark, right? There's a thing right at the beginning where it shows like the cat, and it shows like, things being stolen. But then the first half of the movie is all like in very bright daylight. And then as the movie goes on, it gets darker and darker.
But it gets that kind of dark that they do in 50s movies where you can tell it's not really dark. They just put like a green filter on things. But I forgot about movies like that. I used to watch a lot of old like war movies and stuff with my dad, like Bridge on the River Kwai. There's like a whole sequence where they're attacking a bridge at night, and it's obviously not really night in the shot. It like, I can't suspend my disbelief when I'm watching that.
Well, it's because the cameras needed so much light, right? I mean, they can't. I think nowadays they can film in lower light. Actually, that movie Barry Lyndon we were talking about, Stanley Kubrick actually got new lenses invented so he could shoot in candlelight.
I was gonna say, because there's that scene where they have that candlelit dinner.
But there's an amazing scene where where they're watching the fireworks.
Yeah,
they're watching the fireworks.
Are those a metaphor for something? Are those like a really heavy-handed like euphemism for something? Because it's like they're sort of hooking up and like fireworks are going off, and I was like, is this like what passed for scandalous in these days in 1955? Like...
Yeah, actually, to be shown in theaters, they had to censor the fireworks thing because it's just too heavy-handed a metaphor.
Too much.
But there's an incredible shot in there where Grace Kelly like is talking to Cary Grant, and her whole face is in shadow, right? Like, do you remember that? She walks forward and you can see her, she's dressed up. You can see her whole body except for her face, which is completely in shadow. It's an incredible shot.
That's pretty cool.
So that's one part. What's so interesting I thought about this movie is, as we said, it's not as, it's not like one of these Hitchcock movies that's a work of just absolute genius, like North by Northwest, Rear Window, and Dial M for Murder. You mentioned the kind of the dialogue being very play-like. Well, Dial M for Murder was actually a play, and that movie is really filmed like a play. Like, it's like two adjoining rooms, and essentially all the action takes place there.
Sure. You can only see one side of the room all the time.
What's cool is when Hitchcock's more daring shots or cinematography kind of shows up out of the blue. Another place this happens is when Danielle's hanging off the roof. Like, it shows her slide down, and then she grabs the gutter, and you see kind of her legs flailing behind her, and it just struck me what a brilliant shot that was.
What's the angle? Because what I'm remembering is when he's up there and he's holding her hand.
Yeah.
Well, there's multiple angles on that, because they show from kind of his right shoulder, there's a shot like that, and then there's a shot that's looking up at him.
Yeah.
And they kind of pivot between the two. I don't know when she first falls.
So when she first falls, there's a shot where you're looking down, you know, the roof is to your left and you're looking down at where she would land if she were to fall.
Right.
And she's hanging out and her legs are kind of flailing underneath her. And that's just a powerful angle and a powerful shot, because all the other shots before that were either the people on the ground who, I don't know what was going on with French police in those days, but I don't know if just shooting at the people on the roof is really okay, right? They're like,
I was thinking like,
Robbie, come down or we will shoot. Let's just start shooting. Just shoot, right? I mean,
they're French, but they were raised in Germany, huh?
Yeah, we are French policemen. We must shoot Robbie the cat burglar.
I don't know why I was thinking about this today. I was thinking, why in all of Arnold Schwarzenegger's movies, why doesn't anybody ever just pause and suddenly go, wait, are you why are you German? Like, this is a United States Special Forces unit. Why are you German? Like,
yeah, or like Kindergarten Cop. Like if the parents are talking to him and they're like, so what part of Austria are you from? Like no one ever brings it up.
No one ever brings it up. Exactly.
Right?
It's just like, I'm a cop from New York. I'm here to watch your children. What? You don't sound like you're. What you,
it's true. This is my Bronx accent. I have a very strong Bronx accent. It's like.
Did you catch the Hitchcock cameo? It's pretty easy in this one.
Yeah, this
one's pretty obvious.
Quick one. Yeah.
I remember like looking for those when I was a kid. We watched Lifeboat, and my dad had to point that one out. Have you seen that movie?
No, I haven't.
It's actually really good. It's like all takes place in a lifeboat, and it's actually really entertaining. Even when I was like a little kid, I watched it and was entertained by it. So it's pretty good movie. But there's a bit where they've got a newspaper, and they're looking at a newspaper, and the guy in the picture on the newspaper is Hitchcock. That's where his cameo is in that one. So
I think his cameo in North by Northwest is a little tougher. I think it's like he's a guy who misses a bus right at the beginning, and it's pretty easy to miss. This one, the camera pans right over to him.
I know. I was trying to figure out.
It was very obvious, right?
Yeah, it really was. Well, he was like looking at the people on the bus with some kind of weird expression.
No, he's just kind of staring off into space.
No, I mean Cary Grant. Cary Grant kind of looks at the people on the bus, and I was like, what's the joke here? I don't get the joke. Is it?
I didn't get it either. Yeah.
Isn't it weird that Cary Grant's on the bus? You know, like he's not Cary Grant. It's a movie. You know what actually I thought was weird in this whole movie is they didn't use subtitles. I actually was thinking, is this my version? I love that too. Yeah. But like most people don't speak French, you know, and it's not like I didn't understand every single thing people said. Yeah. But I thought that was kind of cool. I thought that was kind of fun. What's that choice there? Like, what is that? Does it kind of put you in his place of sort of not understanding what's going on sometimes?
Whose place?
In John Rowe, because he's American.
Well, but he's lived. If you own a house in France, you probably speak French, and in fact he does speak French. You know,
he does. But I was thinking it's kind of like me. Like I speak French. Like I can talk to people in French, but when people are talking to each other, I can sometimes just not know what they're talking about at all. You know. Yeah. And I was thinking maybe it's kind of trying to put you in his mind frame by doing that. Yeah. But there was that one joke when they're at dinner, and she's like, "A service compris." And then she's like, "Oh, I have to pay the tip." Blah, blah, blah. And the guy's just like laughing at her, and I was like, "No one gets that joke unless like." So yeah, So Cary Grant is American, right?
Yeah, and actually that's interesting because the backstory he gives the insurance guy, which is the only time he ever talks about his past, is that he was in a family of trapeze artists,
right?
Which Cary Grant really was.
Which is true, right? I know.
Which is really,
I thought that was really funny.
So I thought that was funny to put that in there because he definitely seems like kind of a con man, and so what would be like the most outlandish con man thing to make up? I was in a family of trapeze artists. We ran out of money in Europe,
and yet that's the part that's
actually true about Cary Grant. Maybe not true about John Roby. Like you said,
true.
Yeah,
that's true. I didn't think of that, but yeah, he really wasn't. So both him and Grace Kelly, though, they have that accent, that like that extinct, that mid-Atlantic accent. That Frasier might be the last person in pop culture I think who had that accent, and it was definitely played for like what a jackass this guy is that he talks like this. Like it was not played as in like, it's super cool to talk that way. It was like, why do you have a British accent? It's like, what is going on there?
It's also weird because in that show, Niles doesn't really have the same accent.
I was just thinking that. I actually gave him a British accent in my head. What did he sound like? Did he just sound like a normal American?
He over enunciates and stuff like that, and he speaks very cleanly, but he doesn't have the same Frasier accent. It would be as incongruous as if it were Niles and then Arnold Schwarzenegger played Frasier, and they never addressed it. They're like, yeah, I was raised in Seattle. I'm a radio psychotherapist. And you're like, well, wait a second.
Oh, okay. This was an interesting note. So what did you watch the movie on? Like do you have it on video, like on DVD, or did you like?
We watched on TV, but streaming from, I think, Paramount Plus.
See, okay, like that. That's actually another tangential note that I learned about, right? So I actually watched it on Amazon, and Amazon gives little notes in the corner, like when you put your mouse over things, you get little notes. And this is the only Hitchcock movie that is still owned by Paramount. And that's why it was on your Paramount streaming service. All the rest of them are owned by Universal, and they're streamed like on a different service. But To Catch a Thief is the only one that's still on. Okay, so while I was scanning over the little notes that they give you, so there's a bit where he's talking about his cook at his house and how she strangled a German to death. In the German version, when you watch the movie in German, it says that she killed a lion with her bare hands. It just cuts that part out. It's completely translates it differently.
So in the German version, like he talks to his like old crew, and they're like, yeah, we all helped with the resistance when France was invaded by lions. It was like, oh, wait, remember that? Really? It was just a bunch of lions invaded France?
Or in the German version, they're like, yeah, we fought so hard to help the Nazis, but we lost. It's just the worst. But there's really like an anti-German thread in this episode for some reason. Like we're just going off on Arnold. I'm very sorry to Germans. I really don't have anything against them. Other than the Holocaust.
I think the biggest insult to Germans in this episode was my fake German accent. I think it's hard to insult them.
We couldn't figure out why the French police had German accents.
And technically Arnold's Austrian rather than German.
I imagine those accents sound the same in English, though, right? Wouldn't you think?
Arnold's accent is very different. It's never really sounded like a German accent to me.
I guess maybe. I mean, definitely you can tell in German when somebody's Austrian versus German. There is a difference to it, but that was pretty cold-blooded when he said he killed 72 people. And I was expecting that to be like a joke or something, like dark or something.
I mean, again, I can't help.
Is it true, right?
Yeah, I can't help but think that he's an unreliable narrator, because it starts not only with the fact that he used to be a jewel thief, but it also starts with him eluding the police. When you get that in your head as the first thing that a character is doing, I feel like it kind of sets it up that he's maybe not totally trustworthy.
Right. Yeah. And why does he evade them? I mean, I guess he just figures he's going to end up in prison because of his past and nobody's going to care.
Well, what's interesting is that first part where he evades the police. That's kind of foreshadowing of the thing they do at the costume party, right? Because he's dressed up as the Moor, and then the other person dresses up the Moor, and when he evades the police, he has his housekeeper driving his car. It's a very similar thing, right? He gets everyone thinking that he's in one kind of he's in one costume, he's in one car or something, and so there's kind of a nice symmetry to that, I thought.
What about that house? Like that's okay. Like I could retire into a house like that, like in the south of France. Nice. That would be. I guess we kind of have similar architecture here in the Southwest because it's sort of Spanish. It's sort of similar to like southern France and stuff like that. So I was thinking that would kind of fit with like the way they build houses here. Like it's a kind of open concept, and it's got some adobe and some brick, and just a really, really cool looking house. It's like,
is it really adobe in his house? It looked kind of like it, right? It looked.
I felt like the interior had adobe. Maybe not.
Yeah, though. It also could just be like a cheap way to build a set too, right? Seems like that's like an easier way than like mahogany walls or something like that.
Yeah, it's the Adobe thing is not all it's cracked up to be perfectly honest. It's not an amazing building material. Like you constantly have problems with it, like cracks in it, water getting in.
Like I said when we were in Santa Fe, it's constantly needs updates, right?
Your Adobe constantly needs updates.
Your Adobe's constantly like, do you need to update your Adobe? It's like, oh, Adobe.
Oh yeah, okay. So here's one. You're like kind of a film guy. You know more about like the shots and stuff like that than I do.
I mean, not necessarily. I just kind of know what resonates with me, right?
But you might have an idea how they did this. Like at the beginning of the movie, I think it's right at the beginning when he evades the police, and they're driving along the coast, and there is what can only be an aerial shot.
It's got to be driving a helicopter. I was thinking about that.
Did they have in 1955? They barely had helicopters, right? Like there were no helicopters in World War II.
How else could you have done it?
I don't know. That's what I was thinking. I was watching it. Yeah. It's like that. It's like that opening shot. You know, in The Shining, when they're driving up to the overlook, and they're going along the road. Up in the Colorado mountains. It was the same thing, except 20 years before that. So I was like, how did they get that shot? It's got to be a helicopter.
Yeah.
But it must have been so expensive in the early 50s.
You know, I think Hitchcock, when he made this movie, had probably a lot of like capital behind him, and a lot of like, the studios kind of just wanting him. So, maybe it was a kind of thing where he's like, you want me to do this, you have to provide this. Like,
so he had kind of a mid-career lull, right? Like he had a couple of big movies in the 30s and 40s, because he had like the 39 Steps in the 30s, and then like won an Academy Award for Rebecca.
Yeah.
And I think there's a couple more in the 40s, and I think the late 40s to early 50s, there's not as much Hitchcock as there was. And then he's got like, I think what most people consider to be his really great movies are starting in like, from about 1958 to 1965, right? Like Rear Window and North by Northwest. I don't know when Psycho, I want to say 1961, 1960, something like that.
I think it was before. I'm not sure. I'm always
I don't really know the
chronology of things.
But I think he's kind of at like a lull a little bit almost when he made this one.
Yeah.
And I read some of the reviews of the movie, and it's a lot of negativity. It's a lot of like, oh, this doesn't have the suspense.
Especially when it came out, right? I mean, it's always interesting to have a director who's so known for a particular style kind of try something a touch different, right? Like, I don't even know if I saw this entire movie, but David Lynch has this one movie that like has no weird things in it, right? It's just about the guy who rides his lawnmower somewhere, called The Straight Story.
The Lawnmower Man? No, that's different.
But it's just a movie without any of the David Lynch weirdness, and just trying to tell a basic story about something. And so it's kind of interesting to have a director that is so well known
do something different. Like if M. Night Shyamalan did a movie that like didn't have a twist at the end, you'd be like, "What did I miss a part of the movie or something?"
Yeah, or didn't suck. No,
that would be a big surprise at this stage in his career. Yeah, I'm thinking about him because there's not that many like sort of auteur directors these days. Like that you really just they put a stamp on their films, and you're like, this is one of this guy's movies, Like
I did
Tarantino.
I did like the Sixth Sense. I love that. Yeah. But then it seemed like he kind of tried to keep doing that. He kind of tried to keep doing the same thing, where it's like, now what's the twist now? What's the twist now? Right. It's like, no, there can't be.
Do you know? Apparently, The Village is like a cult movie that people love.
Really?
And I saw that, and I was like, it's okay. Like, I mean, I didn't hate it. It's not like one of my least favorite of his movies, which I can't even remember what I saw that I really didn't think much of. But there's been a couple.
There's the one that's like the ending of the trilogy. That's like, I think it's just called Glass or something, where it's those three. Oh,
yeah, it's Split, Unbreakable, and then Glass. I didn't see that. Was that good? I kind of wanted to see that. I heard Split was good.
It was, I wasn't crazy about them. I mean, I can see how people can like them.
Listeners, I can see Jay's face right now. Split sucks. Like, I'm just looking at Jay's face. You may not be able to tell from his voice, but Split is terrible. It's just a dog poop movie, like just terrible. So the look on your face is like you're trying to get through. Like if I had walked in here and I'd suggested we were going to watch episode 9 all night, just back to back without stopping.
I'm trying to be nicer about kind of like judgment on artistic things, because I'm trying to, in general, understand when some people can like. What I think what you're seeing is that I did not enjoy Split at all, but I can see how someone could like it. So I don't want to say like this is a dumb movie.
You know,
anyone who
really
likes this movie is dumb.
This is really awkward because James McAvoy is actually sitting right next to me. Right.
No, he was very good in it. I just felt like, like any movie that kind of relies on one thing.
I don't. Yeah, you're saying like you're trying to be nicer about like creative things, and it's like I have to say from the experience of like writing a book, I definitely am like it's really hard to do this stuff. Like it's really hard to like write a book, make a movie, something like that. Like, so in that sense, I'd be nicer about it. But at the same time, it's like, that's your job.
Mean,
you're getting
out of something like writing a book, making an album, painting something. I think making a movie is by far the hardest because there's so much logistical. There's so much logistical stuff, and there's a famous acceptance speech by Kubrick where he's accepting something by a satellite because he never went back to the U.S. after moving to the U.K.
Really?
Yeah, he was, even though he had a pilot's license, he was like afraid of flying. He never flew.
I cannot get Scorsese's picture out of my head. That's who I think you're talking about in my mind. I know they're completely different people. I can't think of what Kubrick looks like. Maybe it's because he doesn't appear.
He's like a beard, very.
I can picture Roman Polanski. I can picture Scorsese. I just watched the documentary with Scorsese not too long ago.
He was doing this acceptance speech, and he said famously, but he said that making a good movie is like trying to write War and Peace on a typewriter in the bumper cars at an amusement park, which I think. Yeah. Because the thing is, like, say you're writing a book, say you're writing a novel, right? Mm-hmm. And you need to make something happen. You're like, okay, I'll just make this thing happen, right? It's obviously, it could be difficult to describe it. It could be difficult to work it in with the plot. But say you're Hitchcock and you're making To Catch a Thief. And this isn't the case with To Catch a Thief, but to make the movie work, you need that aerial shot. And you hear all these stories about movies being ruined by, like, they have fantastic scripts, ruined by editing, ruined by directing, ruined by...
Storm. I was just telling you how I wrote a book, and I was thinking you were like, I want to read it. I'm like, well, right now I'm actually rewriting the opening. And I was like, if that was a movie, like I finished the book like more than a year ago. If it was a movie, how could I get everybody back together to like reshoot
their famous,
the opening of the film?
Like it just never happened. Like that with Fatal Attraction, they got everyone back together to reshoot. Right, the original ending to Fatal Attraction, which is more in line with Glenn Close, that's more in line with her pathology, is she kills herself and frames Michael Douglas. Yeah, and that's the end of the movie. Right. And the test audiences hated it so much they brought everyone back together to reshoot the ending.
Did you know they killed Lando at the end of Return of the Jedi originally? And then showed it to audience, and everybody was like, no, that sucks. Don't kill Lando. So they went back and reshot it. But they left in, and I always wondered that when I was a kid, they left in the part where Han Solo was like watching the Millennium Falcon. He's like, I just get this feeling like I'm never going to see her again. And it's like, well, because he was having a premonition and Lando dies in the original version. But I was like, now I remember I was thinking like, oh, they're trying to make the point that like normal people don't have the Force. And he's just dumb. Like his intuitions don't mean anything. Yeah. Like it's just.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about how much stuff that has to go into a movie, it's just incredible that any movies ever get made.
It's a lot of work and it's super expensive. That's another thing, is that like it doesn't cost anything to write a book. I mean, it does in terms of like, I don't know, opportunity cost and your time and stuff like that, but it doesn't actually cost anything, not really.
That's also the thing that is like so tragic about a bad movie, is like if there's a bad book, it's like, one jerk wrote this book and it was just bad.
Have you ever heard Patton Oswalt's bit about Deathbed, the bed that eats people?
No.
And he's like, it's like a movie, like it got filmed. Like it's like an hour and a half long movie, a horror movie about a bed that is possessed by Satan and kills people. And he was like, this is the tragic thing about like a bad movie, is that like somebody had to show up at 6 a.m. and set up the craft services table for this movie to be filmed. And like all these people worked on this for like a month and they produced Deathbed, the bed that eats people. Like,
I mean, if you look at the credits, all the people that are involved right?
Hundreds, usually hundreds of people.
Hundreds.
Like an
Avengers
movie. We were looking at it. I think it might have been 1,000 people involved in making the movie. It was tons.
Yeah, it's so many people involved. And then,
when we got out of college, do you remember you were like, you could get out of college as a math major and go into like actuarial math and like make good money, like right out of college?
Yeah.
I was thinking, like, I feel like that's definitely not your kind of thing, right? And it's because I remembered that conversation. But there's a part where the insurance guy is talking about how insurance is like gambling. And I was like, no, it's not. Like, they don't just hope that your house doesn't burn down. Like they like have all kinds of like actuarial tables and stuff so that they set their prices right. I mean, am I just wrong about that? Like,
I mean, to be fair, you don't know if the guy was a good insurance guy.
That's right.
Right? Like same character, he could have been a doctor, and he could have been like, isn't it crazy? Being a doctor is just like gambling. You don't know how anything works. And they're like, wait, he's a really bad doctor. Like, that's not how the
actually, I think that's
medicine is.
That's probably why he was freaking out so much about the jewelry getting stolen.
Yeah.
Because when there's a cap looter, he's probably like, I probably should have charged more on your premium for this. Like, I'm gonna owe you like $12,000 and I won't be charging 50 cents a month. That was probably a mistake.
Yeah. He really needs to hire some actuaries instead of just eyeballing things and being like, $50.
Well, anyway, so I think this is probably about the time on the Toasting the Classics where we asked the question, are we toasting this classic? So I'm the one who picked it. It's up to you whether we're toasting this classic.
Well, do you want to give me supporting evidence for?
Do you want to hear my arguments?
Yeah.
So as a Hitchcock movie, this one would be like the fifth or sixth one that I would give to somebody, right? Now, he's a really good director. It's kind of like you said, Kubrick. A bunch of Kubrick's movies, I think, could be considered classics. I don't think you only get like one or two per director.
Yeah.
But I think what really stands out here is these two actors getting together, Grace Kelly and Cary Grant, just working together. I don't want to say Cary Grant's like at the top of his game, but he's really good, and he's very charming in this. And Grace Kelly's, just like we said, just kind of a force of nature. So the combination of those three, Hitchcock's direction and Cary Grant and Grace Kelly, I think is probably the best argument for the film. Like, I think people would watch it today and it would still be a classic.
I think also it's a good point in like, we're approaching it with such an expectation of what it means to be a Hitchcock movie.
I think people did then too.
Yeah,
from what I read of the reviews. Yeah.
In a way, like, why not approach it as a movie feature? Well, I guess except for that one scene at the beginning, you never see Hitchcock, right? So it's like, why even attach that to why not just look at it as a movie apart from this without any expectations as to like, there's going to be, a ton of suspense or something like that.
Do you know what I didn't mention, actually, that I meant to mention? That one of the best things I think about this movie is the scenery. Like, just the shots of the south of France. And I was thinking, it's weird because I was thinking about it, and I just watched, I don't know, several months ago, the whole family, we sat down and we watched Shane, which is filmed in the Grand Tetons. And like the Grand Tetons are like a character in the movie. Like, it's really like striking. And it's the same guy. It's a complicated production title that I can't remember what it is. But anyway, it's the same guy who's choosing all the shots for these two movies. Like, so that's like, when you notice that the scenery is very prominently featured, that's not an accident.
It's actually very interesting and is kind of, I don't know a ton of like, I didn't go to film school or anything, so I don't know a ton about like how these directors, how their processes worked. But something that's very similar about Hitchcock and Kubrick, at least what it seems like to me, is that they're both just crazy about every infinitesimal little bit of the shot. And one way you can see this is Hitchcock is constantly going to sound stages rather than shooting on location. So even when they have, I don't know what it's called, like that little platform out in the sea.
I was wondering that because there's a shot from behind and you can see it.
And it really is in the sea. But then whenever they have the close-up dialogue, it's very clearly a green screen and a sound stage.
Yeah. I was literally having the same thought because I was watching the water and the water wasn't moving like seawater.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, this was shot in a soundstage. And then they cut away and you could see the beach. I was like, well, wait a minute. What?
Yeah.
Maybe it must Is it just a calm day? And
well, yeah,
I don't know. It's weird.
It's very obvious why they do it, and for the car, because they can't, just put the camera on the car.
I love those old school again, not to bring up Tarantino again, but he's the only person I've seen do that in modern movies.
Yeah.
Where the people in Pulp Fiction, they're in the car and it's obviously like a fake background behind them.
Yeah.
But it's just a callback to classic films. But I thought that was kind of funny. And that's definitely when they're driving. You can see she does a pretty good job of actually seeming to look at the road every now and then, which is kind of nice, because sometimes in classic movies they'll turn around and talk, with the
one thing that drives me crazy is when they and they do this on sitcoms a lot, when they move the wheel too much. If you think about driving on a fairly straight road, you move the wheel a little and they're just I guess in audio you can't see it, so I'll say 45 degrees to the right, 45 degrees.
Subtitles. Jay is moving his hands around quite a bit. He started out not moving them much, and now he's moving them a lot. So there you go. That's the Cliff Notes.
But another place where Hitchcock does this, because we kept bringing, and it's interesting that we can't discuss this without bringing up other Hitchcock movies, because that's how it kind of works when you're dealing with the director's. Is there a pretentious French word I can use?
I think there is.
Yeah, okay. But
I believe the other pretentious French word that comes to mind is douche.
What, shower? I don't understand.
Yeah.
But another place where Hitchcock does this, do you remember the scene? I mean, it's a very famous scene in North by Northwest where that bus drops off Cary Grant in the middle of nowhere, and he just walks along the road, and then that plane tries to get him. So that long shot, probably over a minute, of Cary Grant just walking along a deserted road, that's green screened.
Weird.
And I remember watching it and being like, why does he need to? Because you can find a deserted road, it's not like Cary Grant's running and it's complicated. You can just put the camera on a dolly, I think that's what it's called, and just move it at the same speed. And I think it really is because Hitchcock was so fanatical about details that the things that you can't control in a shot like that, he would just much rather do it on a soundstage. And you can actually see Cary Grant fake walking, because he's not actually moving on the soundstage.
Oh wait, they didn't even let him move? Oh, I gotta watch that again.
Well, no, because he can't. If he actually walked towards you from the green screen, it would cause a.
So they didn't even use a dolly in a
I don't
stage.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think he's
That's
fake.
odd, yeah.
If I remember correctly, I think he's walking in place. So yeah, I think we should definitely toast it. I think it's.
We should toast it.
Really, I think it's a really fun. It's a really fun movie. It's.
Oh, you know what I think this movie? Yeah, I think this. I don't know if this is true. I don't know if it created this genre, but there's a genre of classy crime movie in Europe. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
There's a bunch of these kind of movies over the years. There's some James Bond. There's a little bit of elements of that.
Yeah.
Oh, I actually read Ian Fleming based James Bond on Cary Grant.
Really?
He just based him on
another
the cool
spy.
Cool
He based it on some real spy.
Well, I think he had real experience in the Secret Service, but the cool factor of James Bond, he was sort of channeling Cary Grant, just the way he talked and acted and stuff like that. So, well, anyway, so we are toasting it.
Yes, I think we should definitely toast it.
We can't really get a cheersing noise. Did you actually drink any bourbon? Did you get any? Oh, there you go. All right. Okay, I can hear yours. Yeah. So could you hear mine? Was mine audible?
Yes.
Okay, good. So I think that's just about it for this week on Toasting the Classics. Unless you have anything else to add, any more pithy observations?
I was gonna say
or a long-winded synopsis, perhaps. Every single detail and every line. Actually, when I said by synopsis, what I mean is, could you please reenact the movie line by line? So I think that's it for Toasting the Classics this week.
I'll say one thing, which is that I wanted to add, which is, we talked a lot about the golden age of Hollywood, or we mentioned it a couple of times, and we kind of talked about it as a vehicle for these stars in a certain way that the stars in the movie sort of carried themselves and their charisma. But I think also the golden age of Hollywood deals with the watchability and the enjoyment of a movie, because going to a movie used to be a very social thing, right? You would go in this huge movie house, and this movie was kind of it was fun, right? It's part of that sort of thing where you want a movie to be a fun experience. And I think that's another thing that's kind of left out from discussing the golden age of Hollywood.
here in Las Cruces, there's a movie theater downtown. It's an old theater, but there's like a local group that just puts on old movies there. And I have had the best time. Like we went there, and I mean, when I say old movies, I mean, some of them are genuinely old, but we've also gone to see like Raiders of the Lost Ark and Jaws.
Oh,
and it's just
great.
like going to see those movies with like a crowd. We saw Casablanca there.
Oh, it's
and
fantastic.
Like, you know, they're like really good, entertaining movies. They're not like serious art house type movies. They're like, but they're very good movies. And going to watch them with like a crowd is so much fun. Like I've taken Alex a bunch of times, and it's just like, what a great experience. I'm really looking forward to that starting back up again.
Yeah, and so you can imagine this movie kind of as a similar thing, right? It has like, you know, it has a romantic storyline, it has suspense, it has the scene, the cinematography that you were talking about, the setting, and it's just, it kind of has a lot.
But if you were gonna, so let's say you were this theater I'm talking about, and you were gonna do one Hitchcock movie. If you're just gonna be like, I just want to show you what this guy does, what would you pick? It wouldn't be this, right? This would definitely not be like.
Well, it's not. It doesn't really represent Hitchcock.
What other movies is Grace Kelly in of his?
Rear Window. She's fantastic in Rear Window. She's that's good.
Yeah, she's really good in that. And then is she in Vertigo?
No, that's Kim Novak.
Oh yeah, it's Kim Novak, right? That's right.
I think she's in Dial M for Murder as well. I think
I
she's
haven't
the wife.
seen that.
Maybe
that's why. Maybe that's why I couldn't think of it. But anyway, so I think we're out of things to say, right?
Yes.
On Toast. Okay, so I think it's going to bring it to the end of Toasting the Classics for this week. Jay, thanks for coming on. I think I forgot to thank you last time, which is completely unforgivable. But thanks for coming on again, and we'll hope to see you again soon sometime. Peace out, everybody.
All right, thanks.
That's it for episode 21 of Toasting the Classics. For those playing along at home, hang on to that sweet white wine for next week when we'll be talking about Spartacus. I promise, that's what we're going to do next time. If you'd like to get in touch, please send us an email at toastingtheclassics@gmail.com. Send us show ideas, comments, complaints, and your list of the top 3 Hitchcock movies. Also, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or any other platform that you use. Check out my blog at theattractivenuisance.com and follow us on Twitter at @ractivenuisance. Our music was written by Michelle McArthur. See you next time on Toasting the Classics.